Hey everybody, ready for another deep dive? Today we're going to unlock the power of authenticity.
Yeah.
We're diving deep into Carma Spence's blog post, Being Authentic in Business, a comprehensive guide.
Yeah.
By the end of this, you'll know how to make being yourself like your secret weapon in the business world.
It's so fascinating how authenticity has become like a buzzword,
Oh yeah.
but Karma actually breaks it down in a way that's super practical.
Yeah, totally. And first things first, he drops the stat. 91% of consumers
Whoa.
say authenticity is more important than how popular a brand is. Think about that. 91%.
Yeah.
That means nearly everyone you're trying to reach cares more about if you're the real deal than how famous your brand is.
It makes sense.
Right.
People can sniff out a fake from a mile away, and in a world where everyone's vying for attention, being genuine can really make you stand out.
Okay, let's unpack what karma even means by authenticity, because it's more than just like, not lying.
Totally.
She talks about two sides to it. Being true to yourself and being true to your values.
And those two can actually clash sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is where things get really interesting.
Yes.
Like, imagine you're naturally introverted, but, networking is supposed to be good for business. Do you force yourself to go to those events that drain you, or do you find other ways to connect
Right.
that feel more aligned with who you are?
That's such a good point. It's about finding that sweet spot where you're being true to yourself and your values.
Yeah.
Even if it means going against the grain.
Totally.
Which brings us to the mind goblins
Oh, yeah.
that Karma talks about.
Yeah.
All those doubts and fears that hold us back from being authentic. Speaking of mind goblins, what's your biggest fear holding you back? Think about it as we break down Karma's tips.
Oh, it's so relatable.
Right.
We've all been there. One common one is the fear of not being an expert.
Yeah.
Like, we need to know everything before we can share anything.
Oh, I know that feeling all too well. Yeah. One time I was about to give this big presentation on a topic I was, let's say, somewhat familiar with, and I almost bailed because I didn't feel like an authority.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But that's where Karma's advice is gold.
Yeah.
She says you don't have to be at the final destination, just a few steps ahead of the people you're serving.
I love that. So even if you don't feel like a total guru,
Yeah.
what knowledge or skills do you have that might be valuable to others? Maybe you're a whiz at organizing, or you're great at explaining complex topics in a simple way. Those are strengths.
Absolutely. And sometimes just being a few steps ahead gives you a fresh perspective that seasoned experts might miss. Like, you remember what it was like to not know this stuff? So you can explain it in a way that makes sense to beginners.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one mind goblin tackled.
Okay.
Another one Karma brings up is this belief that we need to mimic successful people
Oh, totally.
to be successful ourselves.
It's so easy to fall into that trap. You see someone crushing it on social media.
Oh, yeah.
And you think, I need to do exactly what they're doing.
Right.
But that takes you away from what makes you unique.
Exactly. And Karma stresses that the real sweet spot is where your skills, your audience's needs, and what you genuinely enjoy come together.
Yeah.
It's like finding that Venn diagram overlap where you're serving your people, doing what you're good at, and having fun while doing it.
And that's what's going to resonate.
Yes.
People can tell when you're forcing it,
Totally.
when you're trying to be someone you're not.
She uses this great example about networking events. Some people thrive in those environments,
Oh, yeah.
while others like me would rather eat nails.
Exactly. So instead of forcing yourself to do something that feels inauthentic, think about other ways to connect with your audience that feel good to you. Maybe it's online communities, workshops, or even one-on-one coffee chats. What feels most aligned with your personality and how you like to interact?
All right, time to face the big one. The fear that if people really knew us, they wouldn't like us.
Oof. Yeah.
This one hits deep. Have you ever felt that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially when you're putting yourself out there online. It's like this little voice whispers, what if they think I'm weird or not smart enough or too much of this or not enough of that?
Well, yes. But Karma has this really reassuring message.
Okay.
Your ideal clients will like the real you.
Okay.
And it's okay if others don't.
Right.
It's not about being universally liked. It's about attracting your tribe,
Yeah.
the people who vibe with your values and your style.
Exactly. You're not here to please everyone. Think about it. Who are your favorite people to follow online?
Mm-hmm.
I bet it's the ones who are unapologetically themselves, quirks and all. They're not trying to be perfect. They're just being real, and that's what makes them magnetic.
Okay, so we've tackled some major mind goblins.
Okay.
Now, how do we actually put this authenticity stuff into practice? Karma outlines some concrete steps, starting with identifying your core values. What does that even look like?
So it's about digging deep and asking yourself, what truly matters to me?
Yeah.
What principles guide my decisions? What do I stand for even when it's hard? It's like creating a compass for your business.
Correct.
Once you know your true north, it's easier to stay on course even when things get bumpy. But just identifying those values isn't enough, right?
Right. It's about weaving those values into the fabric of your business.
Yeah.
So they show up in every decision you make, every interaction you have, and every piece of content you create. Karma emphasizes that actions speak louder than words.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So it's not just about saying you value sustainability.
Right.
It's about actually using eco-friendly packaging sourcing responsibly, and maybe even donating a portion of your profits to environmental causes.
Exactly. It's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Yes.
And sometimes that means making tough choices, even if it means turning down opportunities that don't align with your values.
Karma shares a really powerful example of this. She talks about being approached to write a column for a horror magazine.
Oh, wow.
Which sounds cool, right?
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
But there was a catch.
Okay.
The magazine focused on erotic horror, which didn't sit right with Karma's personal values. Even though it could have been a good career move,
Yeah.
she turned it down because it just didn't feel authentic to her brand.
That takes guts.
Yeah.
But it shows that staying true to yourself sometimes means saying no,
Totally.
even when it's tempting to say yes.
It's about prioritizing long-term integrity over short-term gains.
Yeah.
And those tough decisions actually build trust with your audience.
Right.
Because they see that you're not just chasing every dollar.
Right.
You're standing by your principles.
Okay, so values check, actions aligned.
Okay.
What else can we do to crank up the authenticity meter?
Consistency is key. Think about it. If someone's all over the place with their messaging or their behavior, it makes you wonder who they really are.
Totally. Like that friend who's super bubbly one day and then all doom and gloom the next.
Right.
You're never quite sure which version you're going to get.
Exactly. And in business, that inconsistency erodes trust. So being consistent in your messaging, your visuals, your customer service, all of it reinforces the idea that you're the same person, the same brand, no matter what. It creates a sense of reliability and authenticity.
And this doesn't mean you have to be a robot, right?
Right.
You can still show your personality and evolve over time.
Yeah.
But the core values and the essence of who you are should shine through consistently.
Absolutely. It's about being authentically you, not a carbon copy of someone else.
Right.
And that means embracing your imperfections too.
Oh, this is so important. It's easy to get caught up in trying to present this perfect image, especially online.
Oh, yeah.
But people connect with realness,
Yeah.
not perfection.
Think about the people you find most engaging online or in person.
Yeah.
I bet it's the ones who are willing to be vulnerable to show their flaws, to admit they don't have all the answers.
It's like they're letting you see behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And that makes you trust them more
Totally.
because they're not pretending to be something they're not.
Yeah.
And that's where the mind goblins can come back to bite us, right?
Yeah.
That fear of judgment, of not being good enough.
Totally. But Karma reminds us that we don't have to go it alone. One of her suggestions is to surround yourself with a supportive community.
Okay.
Find people who believe in you and your vision, people who will cheer you on and give you honest feedback when you need it.
It's like having your own personal cheer squad.
Yeah.
But they're also not afraid to tell you when you're veering off course.
Right.
That kind of accountability can be invaluable.
It's about having people who will call you out in a loving way when you're being inauthentic or when you're letting fear hold you back.
Okay. So we've got our values. We're taking action. We're being consistent. We're embracing our imperfection. We've got our support system.
Okay. Anything else?
Patience, my friend. Karma reminds us that building authenticity takes time. It's a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
So be kind to yourself along the way.
It's like anything worth achieving.
Oh,
You're not
yeah.
going to become an Olympic athlete overnight, and you're not going to magically transform into the epitome of authenticity in a week.
Yeah.
It takes consistent effort, self-reflection, and a willingness to learn and grow.
Exactly. And that growth mindset is actually part of being authentic.
Oh, yeah.
It's about being open to feedback, being willing to adjust your approach and constantly striving to be better.
Yeah.
Not perfect, but better.
All right, so now that we've laid the groundwork, let's look at some real-world examples. Karma highlights some brands that she considers authentic.
Okay.
Toms of Maine, McDonald's, and Chobani. It's an interesting mix, right? You've got Toms of Maine, known for their natural, eco-friendly product. McDonald's, the king of consistency and global reach. And then you have Chobani, which has built a reputation for high-quality yogurt and a strong social mission.
Yes.
What stands out to you about these brands?
Well, they're all super different, but I think what ties them together is that they have a clear sense of who they are and what they stand for.
Yeah.
Toms of Maine is all about natural ingredients and sustainability.
Uh-huh.
And they've been walking that talk for decades.
Right, and they're transparent about it. You know exactly what's in their products and where it comes from. That builds trust, especially with consumers who are conscious about what they're putting on their bodies and in the environment.
Then there's McDonald's.
Okay.
Now, I know some people might roll their eyes at the idea of McDonald's being authentic, but hear me out.
Okay.
They're the masters of consistency. Love them or hate them. You know exactly what you're going to get. When you walk into a McDonald's, whether you're in New York City or Tokyo.
It's true that predictability, that reliability can actually be a form of authenticity. They're not trying to be fancy or trendy. They're just delivering what they promise time and time again.
Right.
And that resonates with a lot of people, especially those who value familiarity and comfort.
And then there's Chobani.
Okay.
What I find fascinating about them is how they've woven their founder's story and values into the fabric of the brand. Hamdi Ulukaya, the founder, is a Turkish immigrant who came to the U.S. with very little and built this incredibly successful yogurt empire.
It's an inspiring story, and they've used it to connect with consumers on a deeper level.
Right. It's not just about selling yogurt.
Right.
It's about social impact.
Yeah.
And making a difference in the world.
They've emphasized fair labor practices,
Yeah.
community involvement and support for refugees, which aligns perfectly with their founders' values and experiences.
So they've managed to create a brand that's both high quality and purpose-driven. And that's something consumers are increasingly looking for these days. Brands that stand for something more than just profit.
It all circles back to what Karma was saying about aligning your actions with your values. These brands have figured out how to do that in a way that feels genuine and connects with their audiences on an emotional level.
Okay, so we've talked about why authenticity matters, how to identify your values, and even look at some real-world examples. But before we wrap up, I want to circle back to that question Karma poses at the end of her blog post.
Okay.
She asks, if you were to build a business around your most authentic self, what would it look like? What values would it embody, and who would it serve?
That's a question that can really spark some soul searching. It invites you to imagine a business that's not just a way to make money, but a true reflection of who you are at your core.
And I think that's the beauty of this question.
Yeah.
It encourages us to dream big and imagine a business that's not just a job, but a true expression of ourselves.
Right.
What about you listening in? What would your most authentic business look like? What values would it embody, and who would it serve? Take some time to really reflect on that. You might be surprised at what comes up.
It's an invitation to step into your power and create something truly meaningful, something that aligns with your deepest values and allows you to make a positive impact on the world.
Beautifully said. So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into Carma Spence's Being Authentic in Business blog post. We've talked about why authenticity is so important, how to overcome those pesky mind goblins that hold us back, and how to put authenticity into practice in our businesses. We even explored some inspiring examples of brands that are doing it right.
Totally.
Remember, authenticity isn't about being perfect or trying to please everyone.
Yeah.
It's about being true to yourself, aligning your actions with your values, and creating a business that reflects who you are at your core. And it's a journey, not a destination. Be patient with yourself, embrace the process, and have fun along the way. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of authenticity in business.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We hope you've gained some valuable insights and inspiration. Until next time, keep being you.